Welcome back to the Frame the Future podcast with myself, Clinton St. Hilaire, and Vanessa Ricardo. Vanessa's going to lead on this topic, which is AI integration for the window and door industry, how it could affect it both positively and negatively. And we're going to cover some of the things that we've noticed with window and door companies with the current AI that they're using. We're also going to touch on the importance of branding while AI is taking over slowly and how that will affect things both positively and negatively. Not in the sense that branding is ever a bad thing, it's just the use of AI and the lack of branding could be detrimental. So over to you, Vanessa.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that, things are changing and everyone can see that like AI is taking over everything. And the thing is, once start AI starts taking over everything, the double glazing industry is also going to have a change. And you already see it. For example, as if you call some double glazing companies, they already have this AI system like AI receptionist, which like you call them and then there's someone answering first. And honestly, I don't even think that's really good, to be honest. Like, I called someone the other day, and then it was someone asking me, okay, who is this? And tell me what you're looking for. And then I was just there waiting for someone to pick up the phone, and I'm like, I got answered by this AI thing. And already, like, the trust and my patience just went down because it's like wanting to talk with someone, and instead of someone answering me the phone, it's like this AI receptionist thing. Like, what are your thoughts on this? Think
My
you were gonna touch
thoughts,
on something, right?
can I help you today? What's the best email to get you on? Well, I don't need to give you my email. We're talking now in this chat. And because it's AI
Mhm.
and it's a bot, it then wants to ask me for my number. And then if I try to argue with it, like, hold on, I don't need to send you this information because we're talking now, the AI is not that intelligent to respond in a way that you can have that conversation that you want with the human being that you thought you was getting the response of. So in that respect, it's annoying. And the reason why I think it's
Yes.
not going to be beneficial anytime soon is because it's going to take a long time for people to adapt to this. And there are still a lot of people that are still very traditional and old school in their approach that are coming forward to these companies. And I think a lot of people are going to fall off.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like it's not even that AI doesn't work. It's that if you don't feed it the right information, the right context, then it doesn't know what it's doing. And a lot of the times I feel like they probably don't know what's the structure on how to actually teach the AI so that it's actually doing a good job when it's talking to people. Like it's not that AI messages don't work or AI calling doesn't work. Is that if you're not doing it right, people are just getting annoyed because all they wanted was to talk with someone that can provide them some information. And now you're there talking with the AI and the AI just asking you a bunch of questions which you don't even want to answer. You're just wanting to get some information from the company. And by the time that they hang up the phone, they're calling someone else, and that's someone else that answers the phone. I was even talking about this the other day, like on a content that I was doing, is that like people like companies that don't answer the phone, you can just tell if a good company, if they're actually on top of their leads, if they actually call the leads back or not. Because like for example, if I'm calling a company but then they don't call me back, you already know that they're leaving a lot of money on the table because they don't have a good structure to call back those people, right? And the same thing with AI. Do you think you don't even call your leads, having AI is going to help that? It's not, right? So you need to be able to adapt, yes, but in a way that makes sense and actually gets you more money in the business, not just doing it for the sake of it. So I feel like nowadays with AI and everything, like people want to evolve with it, but it's also at the same time it's hard if you don't give it enough context, which is why it's helpful to have someone that understands it and can help them out. I can ask you then, Clinton, like how is AI been helping you like on your day to day, like nowadays?
I just use very basic tools, which are still very powerful. So, like, I invested in the paid version of ChatGPT, which helps me to articulate topics, which is good. Um, it's good for a perspective point of view. We know that the ChatGPT and other chatbots like this, that spit out information can make mistakes. But ultimately, it's been a good guide in helping me to brainstorm plans, understand things, because it can search the internet rapidly. It can bring facts and statistics, which is good. And that's as far as it goes. And then I upgraded to Claude, which I believe was or is better than ChatGPT, but I've still seen a few, hiccups with that. Like sometimes the signal's a bit bad and it just kind of slows down or it pronounces
What
words
difference
wrong.
between like Claude and ChatGPT?
Say that again.
What difference do you see between Claude and ChatGPT?
The tone of it. So like ChatGPT started to feel very generic and Claude seemed to be a bit more, provide a bit more substance. That's what I found. And, you know, I like the fact that the two differ slightly in terms of the quality of the results it brings. But for me personally, I haven't really dived in to sort of depending on it too much. I just look at it for perspectives and facts and just sort of like guidelines. And if I need to map out a plan, it's, both of those AI tools are good to map out plans. I just always refine the plan, or if I need to change something, I can prompt it again just to be a bit more detailed or, be a bit more meticulous with it. And if you, keep the chats, keep, the conversation stream, obviously the AI is learning about you based on the information that you feed it, which enables it to then articulate further down the line, you know, based on the progress you're making. So in terms of how it's helping me, that's as far as it goes. Obviously, I'm in the filmmaking space, and for me, I'm learning about authenticity. I'm learning about storytelling. I'm learning about how to really convert the market, which is becoming even more less trusting in this aspect. But that's the answer to the question. And whilst we're on this topic, I wanted to ask you as well, Vanessa. AI is definitely destroying people's brands on a visual aspect, and I think that that's a big problem. But the thing that I know AI is good at is operations. Now we know that chatbots and things, they're annoying, the call bots, the chatbots in the DMs. But I wanted to ask you about how AI can be used when running ads, because I've heard things about the AI being really good at searching, which helps with targeting. I don't know too much on it, but I was wondering if you could touch on that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like not so long ago, I actually heard from this guy saying like, "Oh, you don't actually need marketing agencies anymore. You don't need designers anymore. You can just use AI and just do that." And I've actually seen not only people saying that, but for example, people that are saying like they're good at ads and everything, and then you go see on their portfolio and what they have is that like AI design. But the thing is, when you don't know the fundamentals, you don't know the fundamentals of marketing, you don't know the fundamentals of like human psychology and what gets people to click, you just put ChatGPT on ChatGPT, and then it will just come out with like a random thing, and it won't even convert. And it's not about you getting the best designers, you getting the best marketing agencies, or you saving on some money because ChatGPT does it all. Because if you go there and you know nothing about these things, you don't know nothing about marketing fundamentals, you just get like a crap image, or maybe it's a visually good looking image, right? You put it on the edges, it's not going to work because there's this whole other thing that goes but before you actually start making the ads, before you creating those videos, before you creating those images, there's all this work that these companies, these double clicking companies, they don't understand. They just think, oh, you just put up an ad and that's it. But actually there's a process, because if you don't actually know, for example, the person that you're targeting, you don't know the triggers, what actually gets people to buy, and you really understand the customers, their pain points, their desires, all of this research that is done beforehand, that's what actually makes marketing powerful. It's the messaging, not what the design or whether ChatGPT makes the best design or whatever. Because someone that is in marketing knows that you have to really really understand your avatar and the person that you're talking to, And then you can perhaps use AI to use as tools to kind of help you create better looking images. But when you don't have those fundamentals in place, all you end up having is ads that don't convert, where you just end up spending a lot of money and you're not going to get anything back. Not only with that, but for example, when you're running ads, for example, let's say I'm going to be honest, I use ChatGPT. I use for like to help with images or to scripts, but then I plug it with enough context. Like, look, this is the best running ads I've done before. Look, this is the best copy I've written, and that's gotten really good results. Try to replicate it, and because I also know what to look out for, what works, what doesn't, what good copy actually looks like, then I can use that. But if you don't have none of that, then you can't use ChatGPT because you have no clue on what's actually good marketing. Does that kind
Yeah,
of make sense?
it makes sense. I was also wondering, does when you run ad campaigns now through the Meta, business portfolio, has Meta integrated any AI tools which helps with like the targeting and the search terms to help those ads reach the right people?
What do you mean?
It was just a thought because I've collected a lot of fleeting information, when I'm scrolling on Instagram and I'm seeing all these different profiles pop up with different AI tools and what it can do now. And I just had this idea based on a couple of things that I've heard. Um, can AI be integrated to, automatically search based on a prompt for the, the market that you're trying to market to, or is that still pretty much a manual process?
No, no. I mean, that's actually what was called the Andromeda update that
Oh,
like happened recently on Meta, which basically means that Facebook ads are smarter than ever. And that essentially means that Facebook will analyze your ads, will all like see who you're trying to target, and is way more accurate than it used to be before. Like before, what you used to do, you had a lot of these interests, you have a lot of these targeting options, and you have to be very meticulous and test different targeting options, right? To actually target the right people that you want to target. Nowadays, like the AI from Facebook in the platform itself, it's so advanced that you can literally analyze your ads and everything and put your ads in front of the right people. Now that part is easy, right? Where Facebook is kind of like making sure that it's doing its job like much much better, where you don't have to do so much tweaking on the ads. But that also means that nowadays you have to be way better at the right response, like actually knowing way better the human psychology, because there's way more competition as well. Like it's not just about the targeting. Now you also have to be really good in creatives and making ads that have good messaging, have good creatives that actually look appealing, that make someone stop from scrolling. And so it's not so much about like what you put on the ads, the targeting options. Nowadays it's way more about the creatives and actually really knowing your customer.